The brief to the model making department is that they have to make a miniature set as accurately as possible, and I chose the set from 2001 because it throws up some really interesting challenges. The model's got to be crisp, sharp, fully detailed. It has to fit together, pull apart as if it was an animation set.
So the visual effects brief for 2001 was to come up with a little piece. It's barely a film, but to design a camera move that's very much in keeping with the cinematographic style, the kind of camera style and the mood of 2001. Secondly, we've gone into deciding on what assets will be made in CG.
So the overall process was we first started by doing lots of visual research. So we were taking screenshots from the film and we were researching the archives, seeing what materials we had available. From the research, we then started the drawings and worked out the scale of the build at 1:12 scale to begin with.
It was really difficult to find the measurements because they weren't available anywhere, so we had to find some behind-the-scenes pictures of Stanley and the set, work out the height. Johnny, one of the model makers, whipped this up, so this is a 1:6 scale Stanley, and then we were able to put him in the set and make sure that everything was to scale.
We tried to work closely with model makers so that we understood the dimensions of the set, because what we had to do also was design a set in a 3D model making software and using that to understand and plan a camera movement that is then replicated in the motion control camera. At this stage, we were also making the models themselves, the helmet and the pod and the chair.
I was in charge of building the pod in CG, fully digital, and the challenge was to actually match the scale, because I built it from the references from the film, but in the film it's actually, well, real life size.
While they were doing that, we started on the construction element. So we were making the walls to begin with and cutting those and using all the woodwork machinery. After that, we started with making the cornicing and using a technique called plaster dragging.
And to do that, it's a really involved process that involves almost like all of our hands at once, doing like plaster drags, and you create these outlines and you pull plaster and you pour it out on the table, and it was a really nice handsy process that all of us got to get involved in.
And then we all chose one piece of furniture to work on, so I chose this little bench stool.
Once it was all painted and all fitted together, we secured it and made sure all the props looked great in set, and then we took it over to the shooting space on stage 4. From then we had a huge camera Moco rig on it, which is amazing.
So we spent the whole first day calibrating the motion control rig, so the motion control would get the final and perfect movement. And the second day we did all different passes where the camera would do the same movement, and we would have different plates that would help us in the end.
And the final part of the process is really the composite, which is bringing everything together, bringing the CG in with the plates that we shot on set.
And it was really cool to see the final result on a project like this, because we started out 15, 14 weeks ago, and what the VFX students have been able to do with the work that we've done and merged it with the work that they've done digitally. It's just an amazing thing to see on a big screen, and it's nuts to think that we both together sort of put that out there and made that piece of work.
The most unique and one of the best things about the course is that it's just extremely collaborative, and you really get to know the pipeline and how a visual effects studio would operate, in the industry, and how we might collaborate with other departments in the filmmaking process.
I came from a background of illustration. A lot of people might think that you have to have done a lot of making before, or at least animation, but everyone here comes from totally different backgrounds. And the school as a whole it's really nice, it's really small and friendly, everyone knows each other. Yeah, no, it's really good. I definitely recommend it.